For the first time in just over 30 years, WWE talents invade a stadium in the UK, and to say the expectations were practically sky high for this particular event, that would be a massive understatement. Seriously, it didn't matter whether you were sitting at home, whether you were in the States, whether you were all over the world, whether you were in a pub watching this, or whether you were in Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. That's a really, really weird name for a stadium, but nevertheless, in a town of 3.1 million people, 60,000 plus people packed this stadium, and they were white goddamn hot. They were ready to pop on everything, and the talents, they were ready to chew through walls. They were ready to bust each other through walls. They were ready to bust capillaries. Hopefully not bust arteries. That's really goddamn bad. They were ready to just beat the shit out of each other and do everything they goddamn could to make that crowd even hotter and hotter and hotter and make them boil to the point they were white and even nuclear hot. You had the women tear it up in a 6-woman tag to open the main show. And then you had Sheamus and Gunther beat the shit out of each other and bring more prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship. And then other matches occurred as well. And all you had to do was send the crowd home happy by crowning Drew McIntyre as the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world. And then they decide, hey, we haven't learned anything from SummerSlam 1993, so let's do the dumbest ending possible, and then let's make Drew McIntyre look like a goddamn idiot by the end of it. Congratulations, WWE. You have now taken SummerSlam 1993, moved it down here, and you have had the ending of this particular pay-per-view go way above that. Good fucking job, and people were calling Triple H the savior of WWE. All this proves is all they're gonna fucking remember is the goddamn finish. I'm John Renton with my review of WWE Clash at the Castle 2022 from Cardiff, Wales. So, you may be wondering why you're getting this review a number of hours later. Basically, I tried to tell everybody in my SmackDown review, but unfortunately I had to work, and work is more important. That's sweet, sweet dollar. So, I had to miss live tweeting this, and I just got around to finishing it, and look, I was aware that some of the matches were going to be, I don't know, down here. Like, even the worst match actually wasn't all that bad. And that crowd, if it hadn't been for that crowd being really, really, really fucking hot, as UK crowds are, that fucking crowd, tremendous fucking crowd, goddamn great. But that ending, they might as well just say, Drew McIntyre, go home, sit out the rest of your contract. He's fucking done as a main eventer. I know he had been dealing with a back injury, so it's entirely possible. Maybe it's more severe than they thought, or maybe they weren't sure, so they're like, well, we shouldn't put the titles on him. You know what they also shouldn't have done? Unified the fucking championships, because all due respect to Roman Reigns, who has worked hard and has negotiated a new deal where he works reduced dates, that's great. Now it's at the point where nobody is going to benefit from this. Drew McIntyre is fucking done as a main eventer. They can try all they want. This was the moment. This is SummerSlam 1993. This is, it's not quite Mania 19 with Booker T and Triple H, even though that was a bit crowd deflating. But this was really crowd deflating. And that ending, what the fuck? But before we get to the end, we got to start at the beginning, as the Mad Hatter once said. The pre-show panel, Jackie Redmond, Matt Camp, and Rosenberg. Why is Rosenberg on television? He's not any good. So, I didn't watch a lot of the pre-show. I did notice that Liv was talking to Leon Edwards, who recently became the UFC welterweight champion. And then Wade talks about Sheamus and Gunther, Worlds Collide, and the legacy of UK wrestling. He talked about even stepping back in the ring and then sees people like Sheamus and Gunther and says, no, I'm not going to do that. And then we get a package on Tyler Bate and Rex Steiner. And then Our Lady Peace, run. Boy, if only Our Lady Peace had been able to tell Nancy and Daniel, run. If they'd just been able to, run, get out of there, don't do this anymore. But unfortunately, even Chris didn't run. He just decided to wait around and hang around for a bit. Now that I've gotten that out of the goddamn way, if you think that's the only fucking joke I'm going to make, you don't know me very goddamn well. Michael Cole is still there. Unfortunately, Michael Cole cannot be left back in the UK. Michael Cole is so bad at his job. You goddamn idiot. Guy, he's got a freaking brain parasite known as what's left of his fucking brain trying to tell him what to do. He's not any good. Byron Saxton is there. Graves, I'm going to say right now that Corey Graves might be one of the most abysmal commentators they've had in a while when he was one of the best. Now he's just a caricature. So, stadium looks great. It sounds full. Apparently there were some ticket flummoxes, but hopefully everybody was able to be there. And I will say once again, that crowd fucking tremendous. Great goddamn crowd. That Was a long stage, though. What won't take very long for me to talk about is Moss and the Street Profits against Theory and the Academy, the Alpha Academy. This was a match that certainly existed. It was an added match to warm people up. And we get a blockbuster to the outside onto a dog pile. And then we get the splash from the heavens, 1, 2, 3, and Gable takes the pin. Why do they hate Chad Gable? Genuine question, why do they hate Chad Gable? So, Gable is toast, as I've said before. Video package on Wales, and looks like a beautiful place. I've never been to Wales. Looks like a beautiful place, though. They had dragons and dungeons and everything. Reminds me, they're doing another Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine coming out next year. Have you seen the trailer? If you haven't, pause this and go watch it. Wasn't that terrible? I told you that was fucking terrible. So anyway, we get whipping action in Wales. Oh wait, it's just Bianca. And then Asuka. And unfortunately, Alexa is here. Alexa Bliss is terrible in the ring, has regressed terribly, and needs to stop wrestling. Stop, don't do this anymore. They take on Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Okay, 2 things. 1, I was really excited for this match and ended up enjoying it. 2, Damage Control's theme is absolute ass. I don't know how much they thought they put into that, but more would have helped. Whoever sung that deserves to be fired out of a cannon into the sun. Because it's rap. I hate rap. Oh, rap is crap. Oh, I hate rap. The West Texas rednecks were right. So Grimes, you know, Grimes being on this goddamn thing would be funny. A Simpsons character. Well, Bianca has to know she has a target on her back, courtesy of the Raw Women's Division. It's because she's black. It's because she's black, isn't it, Corey? Just say it. So, nevertheless, Damage Control dominates some of this match. Anytime Alexa, Asuka, or Bianca get an advantage, they get shut down. Good pace, well worked, good stuff. There were a few sloppy points. I think these women were just really, really fucking excited. Like any match that opened this show, there were going to be a few flummoxes. Nothing bad, except from Alexa, who can't fucking work at all. The hey Bayley, I want to know if you'll be my girl. That was good stuff. Very good stuff. And give me Io and Asuka in a best of 7. In the ring and nowhere else. How dare you accuse me of otherwise? I run a clean show. And it was given a lot of time. The heels dominated for a bit. As I said, Asuka gets a hot tag, gets some stuff in, and then eventually gets another hot tag to Bianca. They go nuts. Not targeting the braid. Then we get a superplex off of Bianca's back. And Bianca shows off with some great strength. And then eventually she gets tag team with a drive-by kick. We get the Rose Plant and then the Moonsault, and Bayley covers 1, 2, 3. Bianca takes the pin. I don't know why Alexa didn't take the pin, considering Alexa is the only untalented twat out of the group, but nevertheless, Bianca takes the pin. It sort of makes sense because now you can build the fact that Bayley pinned her. Hooray! Yay! Good stuff. Very good stuff. The women killed it. Sadly, Tyson Fury is here. I know he has fans. I don't care. So, SummerSlam 92 recaps of Brett and Davey. And then Davey's family is there. I assume his kids. Lisa's daughter. I think that was his daughter. And Brett was there. Big pop for Bret the Hitman Hart. Good on him. I'm glad Brett was there. And then Sheamus gets a big pop. Ireland and all that. And hey, they reformed Imperium. They realized that Giovanni Vinci was a stupid fucking model gimmick and said, let's just make him what he was. Let's make Imperium again. There we go. That works. Proof that NXT 2.0 is fucking shit. Sheamus with the Peter Dune and Ridge taking on Gunther with the Kaiser, the glory of the Kaiser, and Vinci. What the fuck was Vinci's original name? I'm trying to remember that. Eichner, bring that back. Bring back Eichner, bring back. Okay, terrible. So, this match, I cannot encompass just how much I enjoyed this match, beyond saying it was hard-hitting, great shit for the Intercontinental Championship, bringing prestige back to the Intercontinental title. Of course, at one point, Graves said he's preparing for a holy war. Could you not do that? 1,000 years of Gunther. If you get it, you get it. That was very close to the bone. Whew. Stay off those tracks. Anyway, a slugfest and hard chops, and Then Sheamus kept beating him off from behind. That was some good stuff. Walter chanced, of course, Gunther shut those down. No, you will not do that. Chop, chop, chop. Why he's talking like that, I don't know. And just great shit. Sheamus and Gunther beating the hell out of each other. The chests were busted open. Great shit. Chests were busted open. It's like Link was out there just shattering things. Yep, yep, yep. People that don't play video games have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. And, we got a big old, white noise for a pop. Some great shit here. The sleeper at one point, Gunther gets that on, but he's like, no, I will fight out of this. I will continue to fight out. And it looked like Sheamus might actually get the victory. Kept trying to go for the bro kick. Kept trying to do his stuff, but eventually fell to a powerbomb and then a big lariat. 1, 2, 3. Great stuff. And you can't get more old school than that. And that's basically what he said. So there you go. There you go, Michael Cole. Good job. So Sheamus gets a standing ovation. He was emotional, understandably. And this was good stuff. Really, really good shit. This will be on my favorite matches of the year list. This is the kind of shit that WWE can do. I would say under Triple H, but just in general, they are capable of putting on some great goddamn matches. Just let them go out there and be athletes. Liv gets a decent enough pop and takes on Shayna. Look, the match is fine. Here's the problem. I didn't care. Nothing against Liv. I have no reason to care about Shayna. Match is okay. This is the cooldown match. They didn't put him in the best slot. But there was arm targeting. Liv did pull out some submissions of her own. Good pace to it. I just wasn't that invested. And eventually, even after countering out the clutch, she hits Oblivion. 1, 2, 3. It was fine. It was fine for what it was. If that's the worst match of the night, then it wasn't the worst match of the night. It was probably the least important, all due respect to Liv. That was good enough for what it was. Extreme Rules ad, narrated by Heyman. Exotic Adrian Street and Miss Linda were in the crowd. I am astonished that Adrian Street is still alive because it just seems like he would be about 90 by this point. But you know what? Good on them. Edge gets a sizable, and I mean, might have gotten besides Drew, might have gotten the biggest pop of the night. For those that were in attendance, if you happen to be watching this, I don't know why you would be. You'd probably be out celebrating or being upset and wanting to set shit on fire because of the end. Tell me just, in your section, who got the biggest pop. Genuinely curious. Let me know. So he had on a mask, a Sonata mask. I can't see a thing. Edge, presumably. It's Edge Nada, as it were. Judgment Day and Rhea. My son of a bitch. God damn it. Oh. Bit distracted by Rhea during this. So it's Edge and Ray with Dominic. For what that's worth, absolutely nothing. Taking on Judgment Day with Rhea. Huge pop for Edge. He was hugely over. He was emotional. He was enjoying every goddamn second of this. The crowd was into this. Edge unloading on Priest. Oh my. They took over on Ray. Priest got crouched on the barricade later. I'm not going to get into the series of moves on this one, but this was a fun tag match. It wasn't great. It's still funny they try to make it like, oh, Edge and Judgment Day, they had such rich history, and it was like 8 to 10 weeks. That's it. 8 to 10 weeks. Fucking goddamn hell. I've had dizzy spells that lasted longer than that. Which probably isn't a good thing, and I probably should go to the doctor. Moving on. Edge gets a hot tag. Hits a variation of the 619. And then Rhea ends up, attacking Dominic after he does a distraction. And then Rhea gets, run into by Ray because he just does a dive onto everybody. And then 619 and a spear pins Balor. 1, 2, 3. There you go. The faces celebrate. Judgment Day is still there. And Dominic's, I'll come in and celebrate with Edge. And kicks him right in the gonads. He's upset because of that spear. Or he's upset because Edge is more over than he will ever be. Because Dominic ain't going to last long in wrestling. I'm just going to say that right now. And then he hits a lariat on Ray. People are acting like this is a heel turn by Dominic. Dominic's been a fucking heel, in my opinion, since the Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio custody storyline. And now he's been even more of a heel because now he's grown up and he still hasn't learned. He's not cut out for wrestling. He's not. He's not good at it. Stop. Don't do this anymore. So anyway, and he's still not interesting. I don't hate him though. How dare people accuse me of that? So, 62,296 fans, possibly, maybe. I mean, the capacity of the stadium is just under 75,000, so it's very possible. I'm thinking with the stage, probably close. Even with the ticket flummoxes, I would imagine so, given the fact they haven't run in the UK for a while. Matt Riddle makes an entrance with his scooter and fish popping out. Either Goldines or Magacarps, I'm not sure. Seth Pheasant Rollins comes down, dressed either like Elton John or Boy George, or both had a baby, I'm not really sure. Seth Pheasant Rollins versus Matt Riddle. Hard-hitting, good stuff, and you know what I loved about this? That Riddle kept getting the shit beat out of him. Riddle kept firing back. Riddle could win in a shoot fight, obviously, UFC training. Understandable. Guess who's the better family man? Rollins, because Rollins stuck around and decided to actually be there for his family. What did Matt do? He decided to be a cock slut, as he put in DMs that were leaked. No, or text messages. Something. I'm not actually sure, but whew, boy, that's certainly something else there, Matt. Whatever, I'm not here to kink shame, but he did abandon his wife and children. I mean, he didn't use any exercise equipment or a phone cord or anything, so at least he's better than the guy that had the original Our Lady Peace theme, but I digress. Big fight feel. Huge expectations here, and they tore it up. They did. I will never take away Matt Riddle's wrestling ability. But he's a fucking douche, and he's not really all that interesting, but he can go. He can fucking go in the ring. The barricade bomb, I don't know why they did that. Bro, Derek, they were pulling out each other's moves. They were hitting each other, countering, doing some great shit, great pace, great kicks. Orton DDT by Seth. Seth's like, haha, I'm going to do this. And then he had a pedigree earlier for 2. And then he gets a fisting from behind, but then they go outside, and it looks like Riddle's about to hit him with a chair on the announcer's table, drops the chair, gets back in the ring, gets hit with the stomp, gets hit with the super stomp. It's like the Karubo shoe from Super Mario 3. I think I pronounced that right. Why wasn't that power more implemented instead of just that one level? God damn you, Nintendo. Fuck. Anyway, let's get back to the match. 1, 2, 3 after the super stomp. Seth Pheasant Rollins celebrates. Cross and Scarlett are in the crowd. I smell shenanigans. And then we hear the beginning of Broken Dreams. How appropriate. The crowd was singing along. Drew gets a massive, throbbing, undulating, pulsating ovation. Oh, Drew McIntyre. And then the entrances take 4 fucking years. Look, I will not take anything away from Roman being made to feel like a final boss. But they need to end it here. And they didn't, and they fucked it up. They fucked up what was pretty much close to a perfect show. And all they're going to remember is a goddamn finish. Roman versus Drew, look, good stuff for what it was. They hit each other hard. They went outside, inside. Kept the pace going. Slowed it down. Sped it back up. The ebbs and flows. Good, good counters and everything. Cross through, drink it, Drew, because they're bound determined to do this shit. Cross is not interesting at all. Scarlett is there basically to, I'm sorry, the way they present her, just be, blonde hair with a pair of tits. That's pretty much all they're doing with her. And then Roman had to throw himself at one point after a throw out of the corner. And then we get a Superman punch. We get a spear for 2. We get a guillotine. We get more counters. We get a ref bump after a Claymore. Big shock. Charles Robinson takes a fucking bump. And then Theory's music hits. And then Tyson Fury's down at ringside. Well, in the front row, and he KOs Theory. Fury. Watch them try to book that match for Saudi Arabia. Watch them have Theory and somebody against Fury and Drew McIntyre at the Saudi Arabia show. Watch them do that. So anyway, another Claymore. But just for 2. Oh no. That was the one shot. And then we got more counters. We got a spear by Drew. Then we got another Claymore. And then 1, 2, the ref gets pulled out. Here's Solo Sikoa. Okay, I knew they were going to line him with the bloodline, but really, you're going to put him in this? This is not going to help. This is not going to help at all. What's Drew going to do? Feud with Solo Sikoa, who's good. He ain't there yet. He ain't going to be there yet. He was too good for NXT, but Whew, this is where the crowd is really starting to boo. And then a spear. Charles back in. 1, 2, 3. And that is the end of Drew McIntyre as the main eventer. That's the end. That's the end. I know he has a possible back injury. Maybe that's the reason. Here's my thing. Don't book the fucking match. You shouldn't have unified the championships. Don't book the fucking match if this is going to happen. You've killed Drew. Lashley could obviously face off against him, but he's the U.S. champion on Raw. Cody's out. They never should have unified the titles, and even if they split them, guess what this is going to end up doing? This is going to end up somehow leading to somebody probably not deserving winning, and oh, Drew could win. What's it going to mean? This was it. This was it. This is worse than SummerSlam 1993, so I would like to say that Triple H is not the fucking savior of WWE. I am still going to watch WWE. This has not made me turn off watching WWE for good, because if I put up with years and years and years of Vince McMahon's bullshit and the pandemic era and all that stuff, then I'll put up with this. But this was deflating, it was subdued, and it basically wrecked what was a hell of a goddamn show. Because again, all they're going to remember is the finish. Oh, speaking of the finish, that wasn't it. By the way, some guy had a shirt that said, "Better Dad Than Chris Benoit." Shout out to that guy. Seriously, I love that. Here's Tyson Fury. He shakes Roman's hand and then says, "Drew, you did well, but let's sing. You lost. You got shat on. You got basically booked into oblivion. You will never be seen as a credible main eventer in WWE again, no matter how hard they try. They completely nuked, cut off the goddamn legs. It's like Kerry Strug at the 1996 Olympics, except they shattered both his legs, femurs, patellas, and destroy his legs. The main event scene's got no more legs, Lieutenant Dan." They sing American Pie, and then start singing, "Why was this still going?" You know, my faith in WWE wasn't exactly an all-time high, but I was willing to give it a chance. But Triple H has been in charge long enough where you would think he would know what he's doing. Clearly, they didn't learn from Money in the Bank. They had a great goddamn show there, had Theory win the briefcase. All I gotta admit is that they just hate wrestling fans. They do, because there's no excuse for that. Brock and Roman was a spectacle, not a great match. Brock didn't need to win. Drew needed to win here. He didn't. And that pretty much was, it let the air out of the goddamn balloon. This basically was like Starrcade 97 without the restart. This was atrocious. Worse than SummerSlam 93. Might be worse than Mania 9. Might be worse than Mania 9. In fact, I'd go argue that this ending was worse than Mania 9. Because, yeah, Hogan shouldn't have won the match. Shouldn't have won the title. But nobody sung afterwards. Fuck. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.